What you're now watching is the first in a series of videos where we'll be suggesting some easy-to-learn tips on printing, otherwise known as getting your money's worth, avoiding hassle, and getting yourself the best possible custom printed t-shirts, hats, caps, polos, jackets, sweatshirts, towels, and more. That's quite a bit to chew on, but put simply, we'll just look at some great ideas for getting the most out of your custom apparel order. In our first video, let's take a look at how quantity can figure into your bottom line. While I've been asked the question, what's the minimum quantity on custom printed t-shirts that your company requires, that's really not the best question. You may laugh. Why, of course you don't want to hear that question because you won't make much money. Hey, I'm not going to lie. That's true. But it's also not good from your point of view as a prospective client. Why is that? While the minimum may be 1 dozen, cost-wise, it isn't an effective way to spend $1. See, the price for 12 versus 120 is often dollars less per shirt. For example, at a dozen, a white shirt with a one-color print might cost over $13 each. At 120 units, it's about $3.25 each. That means for the price you're paying for one shirt, you could have 4. That's a 75% savings in this example. The savings can really be mind-blowing. But it's understood that sometimes you have no reason to order larger quantities of this if the situation doesn't call for it. If your print job is placed for a run of promotional t-shirts, it may make a lot of sense. But what if you're printing for the office and only have a dozen workers to outfit? Well, in that situation, you've got to pay more per unit. There isn't much you can do in terms of quantity price breaks. We'll get into other ways to save in coming videos, though. However, if you can order more quantity, you can see how much better pricing can be. So what quantity do I need to get to in order to get a great price? Well, the answer to that question really depends on the item. But I generally suggest 6 dozen as a good starting point. At that quantity, you can get above average value for your money. In the example I just gave you, even stretching your quantity slightly to 24 shirts rather than 12 would allow you to save close to 50%, as the cost for 24 is under $7 per unit. Why? Because the money's in the setup. Once a job is running, you're only paying for a bit of ink in the garment, which can be relatively inexpensive. The setup of the job is the main cost. This applies to almost any kind of printing, but it's especially true in the case of garment printing. When it comes to 50 to 500 to 5,000 to 500,000, the answer is always the same. Larger quantities means more money that you can save. On one hand, you could order a small quantity now and reorder again in a few months, but that scenario could end up costing you more than double than ordering a larger quantity up front. While your budget may not allow for this, if you can afford it, certainly in the long run, ordering a larger quantity can save over 75% in many cases. We usually quote larger quantities than clients ask us for as additional options to consider. As you can see the savings written in our quotes, it begins to make sense. It doesn't matter if you're ordering custom printed t-shirts, jackets, hats, sweatshirts, polos, or other apparel. It's the same in every case, whether your apparel may be screen printed t-shirts, sweatshirts, or embroidered jackets, polos, hats, or caps. The old saying, less is more, really applies. Less is more per unit in terms of cost, and more is less, because ordering a larger quantity will help you save. So whenever ordering custom printed t-shirts or any type of printing, ask your custom printing company about larger quantity price breaks and compare. You might be surprised at the savings. If you found this video helpful, please click on the link below to get this free report. How to save time and thousands of dollars in printing costs. Avoid the top 10 mistakes people make when choosing a printer. This will be sent to you by email absolutely free. Stay tuned for our next video with more printing tips.